9 out of 12 rust removers are a complete waste of money. The frame shops know it. That $30 spray can, theater, that $45 gel with the professional label, it made the rust worse. They have been sitting on the auto parts shelf collecting your money for decades while your frame quietly rots underneath you. I am done watching it happen. So I bought all 12. I applied every single one to real frame steel with real rust through one full northern winter. Only 3 survived with results I would trust on structural metal. Let us get into it. Number 12, WD-40. Specialist Rust Remover, Soak WD-40 is the most recognized name in the automotive maintenance category. That recognition creates a powerful purchase instinct when buyers see the brand on a rust remover product. If WD-40 works on everything else, the rust remover version must be serious. That assumption is the first mistake. The WD-40 Specialist Rust Remover Soak is a chelation-based liquid designed for soaking removable parts in a container. The problem is the word soak. Frame rust does not exist on a part you can drop into a bucket. It exists on structural steel that is welded to your vehicle and cannot be removed without dismantling the entire undercarriage. A product that requires full submersion to work has a fundamental application limitation on frame steel. In our testing on horizontal test panels, the WD-40 Soak product performed adequately on light surface rust, with a 30-minute application using a saturated cloth held against the surface. On moderate frame, rust with penetration deeper than the surface layer, performance dropped to negligible. And the financial consequence of discovering this after applying it to your frame and waiting 30 minutes is that the rust is still there and your treatment budget has been partially spent. But the WD-40 product at least fails predictably because of its application format. The next product on this list fails in a more confusing way that leaves drivers thinking the treatment worked when the rust is actually still progressing underneath. Number 11, Evapo-Rust Original. Evapo-Rust is one of the most popular rust removers in the enthusiast community. It carries genuine credibility from years of positive reviews for its intended application. And its intended application is the critical phrase. Evapo-Rust is a water-based chelation product that works exceptionally well on fully submerged rust removal for parts that can be soaked in a container. Restoration enthusiasts use it successfully on fuel tanks, suspension components after removal, and hand tools. On those applications, the positive reviews are completely justified. The problem appears when drivers apply Evapo-Rust to frame rust in its vertical and overhead positions, using a brush or spray bottle. The water-based formula has a low viscosity. It runs immediately from vertical surfaces. Contact time on a vertically oriented frame rail achieves perhaps 5 to 10 seconds before the product has drained away. In our testing on vertical test panels simulating frame rail orientation, Evapo-Rust produced virtually no measurable rust removal on moderate or heavy rust penetration when applied without full submersion. On light surface rust with multiple applications using a soaked cloth held in place manually, marginal improvement was measurable but insufficient for structural metal treatment. The second failure mode is the one that creates false confidence. Evapo-Rust leaves a dark, stained appearance on treated metal that visually resembles a treated surface. Drivers who brush the product onto frame rust and allow it to dry see a darkened surface and assume the rust has been treated. The darkening is cosmetic residue from the product's formula. The rust underneath has not been chemically addressed. Applying a top coat sealer over this cosmetically darkened but structurally untreated rust traps active corrosion beneath a coating. Active rust under a sealed coating generates moisture as a byproduct of the oxidation reaction. That moisture has nowhere to go. It accelerates rust progression at a rate significantly faster than exposed rust would progress in open air. Make sure you subscribe now so you do not miss the products that actually work. We are getting to the 3 that deliver real results on structural frame steel. But first, there are 9 more failures that teach you exactly what to look for and what to avoid. The next product on this list carries pharmaceutical-grade chemistry that sounds impressive on the label, and fails for a reason that has nothing to do with chemistry at all. Number 10, Metal Rescue Rust Remover. Bath. Metal Rescue is a professional-grade chelation product used in industrial restoration applications. The chemistry is legitimate. The performance on fully submerged parts is well documented and respected in professional restoration circles. It is also a bath product, a product that requires full submersion. on a frame that cannot be removed from the vehicle. The application problem that disqualified the WD-040 soak product applies identically to Metal Rescue. In our testing, we attempted multiple creative application methods to extend contact time on vertical frame surfaces. We used soaked rags held in place with tape. We used a gel thickener mixed into the formula to improve vertical adhesion. We used repeated applications every 5 minutes for an extended period. None of these methods produced adequate contact time for the chelation chemistry to work on moderate or heavy frame rust. The gel thickener method produced the best results of any non-submersion approach. On light surface rust with a thickened gel application held in contact for 45 minutes using plastic sheeting as a poultice, measurable rust removal was documented. On moderate rust with pitting beginning to develop in the metal surface, the gel poultice method produced approximately 20% rust removal at the surface level. The rust in the pits and below the surface layer remained completely untreated. 20% surface rust removal on a frame rail leaves 80% of the existing rust actively progressing, and it leaves all of the subsurface rust where structural integrity matters most completely unaddressed. Metal Rescue is a genuinely effective product for its intended application. That intended application is not frame rust treatment on an installed vehicle. The next product abandons chelation chemistry entirely and takes a completely different approach, one that sounds more aggressive and appears to work dramatically better on first inspection. The problem only becomes clear at the 3-month mark. Number 9. Rust-Oleum Rust Dissolver Gel. Rust-Oleum Rust Dissolver Gel uses phosphoric acid chemistry rather than chelation. This is a meaningful difference from the previous products on this list. Phosphoric acid reacts chemically with iron oxide and converts it into iron-phosphate. Iron-phosphate is a more stable compound than iron oxide. It has a darker appearance, and it bonds to the base metal surface rather than sitting on top of it. This conversion reaction is what makes phosphoric acid products genuinely suitable for vertical and overhead frame applications. The gel formula clings to vertical surfaces long enough for the acid to initiate the conversion reaction. In our testing, the Rust-Oleum Rust Dissolver Gel produced visible surface conversion on light and moderate rust within the contact time the gel formula maintained on vertical surfaces. The treated surface took on the characteristic dark gray appearance that indicates iron-phosphate conversion has occurred. Initial results at the 30-day assessment point appeared promising. The 3-month assessment revealed the limitation. Phosphoric acid conversion products convert the surface layer of rust that the formula contacts. They do not penetrate into pitted rust below the surface layer. On frame steel with moderate pitting, the surface converts to iron phosphate while the rust in the pits continues progressing beneath the converted surface. At 3 months, the converted surface layer began lifting at pit locations as the subsurface rust expansion broke the iron phosphate layer from beneath. The appearance of a treated surface masked ongoing structural damage, and the truth is that most frame rust on northern vehicles has progressed well beyond light surface rust by the time the owner notices it. The next product attempts to solve the penetration limitation with a much stronger acid formula. The results are better, but they come with a risk that almost nobody mentions in the product reviews. Number 8. Ospho Rust Treatment. Ospho is a phosphoric acid product with a significantly higher acid concentration than consumer rust converter sprays. It has been in the market for decades. It is genuinely respected in the marine and industrial coating industries, where it is used as a surface preparation product before primer application. The higher acid concentration produces deeper phosphoric conversion than lower concentration consumer products. In our testing on moderate frame rust with early pitting, Ospho produced measurable conversion into pit surfaces where the lighter gel products had failed to reach. Multiple applications with brushing into pit surfaces allowed the more fluid Ospho formula to penetrate into surface irregularities more effectively than thicker gel products. At the 60-day assessment point, Ospho treated surfaces showed less subsurface rust progression than surfaces treated with the Rust-Oleum gel. The risk that the product reviews rarely mention is the residue requirement. Ospho must be completely neutralized and removed before any top coat is applied. Phosphoric acid residue left on the surface reacts with most top coat primers and creates adhesion failure at the primer layer. The neutralization process requires multiple wash cycles, with clean water followed by a baking soda solution rinse. On a frame that cannot be easily rinsed and where water pooling in cavities creates its own rust risk, this neutralization requirement is a significant practical complication. Drivers who skip the neutralization step and apply top coat directly over Ospho-treated surfaces experience primer delamination within weeks. The delaminated primer exposes the treated metal to moisture. The rust resumes. The treatment appears to have failed when the product chemistry was actually adequate. The neutralization step was what failed. Ospho is a legitimate treatment for frame rust in the hands of a user who understands the complete preparation and neutralization protocol. In the hands of a driver who reads the application instructions casually and applies a top coat without completing the neutralization steps, it produces outcomes worse than no treatment at all. The next product eliminates the neutralization requirement entirely with a self-neutralizing chemistry, but it introduces a different limitation that becomes apparent at the application stage before the chemistry even has a chance to work. Number 7. Pore 15 Tie Coat Primer. Pore 15. Tie coat primer is positioned as a preparation layer rather than a primary rust remover. But in the context of frame rust treatment, its performance on actively rusting surfaces makes it relevant to this investigation. The formula contains phosphoric acid compounds combined with a resin system that self-neutralizes as it cures. In our testing on moderate frame rust surfaces, the tie coat primer produced solid surface adhesion and measurable rust stabilization on the surfaces it contacted. The limitation is film build. The tie coat primer is formulated for thin film application as a preparation layer. On pitted frame rust, thin film application allows the primer to bridge over pit openings, rather than penetrating into the pits where the most active rust is progressing. Bridge pit openings trap moisture inside the pit cavity beneath the primer film. The same moisture trapping problem that affects inadequate chelation treatments affects thin film primer products applied over pitted rust. The tie coat primer performs best as a second layer, applied after a primary rust conversion product has treated the pit surfaces. As a standalone frame rust treatment, its thin film build makes it insufficient for anything beyond light surface rust. If this investigation is changing how you think about rust treatment products, smash that like button right now. Every like puts this video in front of another driver before they waste money on a product that will not protect their frame through another winter. The next product attempts to solve the penetration problem with a completely different approach. Instead of trying to convert or remove rust from the surface, it works from a direction that no surface applied product can match. Number 6. Naval Jelly Rust Dissolver. Naval Jelly has been on hardware store shelves since the 1950s. It is one of the oldest commercially available rust treatment products in the consumer market. The gel formula uses phosphoric acid at a moderate concentration, thickened with a hydroxyethyl cellulose binder. The gel consistency is significantly thicker than Ospho and maintains contact with vertical surfaces for extended periods without running. In our testing, Naval Jelly maintained measurable contact time on vertical test panels for up to 20 minutes before the gel began drying and losing contact effectiveness. On light frame rust, 20 minutes of contact time with a phosphoric acid gel produces adequate surface conversion for top coat application. On moderate frame rust with pitting, the same 20 minutes of contact time converts the surface layer, while the pit depths receive inadequate treatment time. The thick gel formula actually works against penetration into pit surfaces because the viscosity that keeps the product on vertical surfaces also prevents it from flowing into the narrow geometry of rust pits. On frame rust that is genuinely light and confined to surface discoloration without pitting, Naval Jelly is a cheap and accessible treatment option that produces adequate results. On any frame rust that has progressed to pitting or scaling, Naval Jelly is insufficient regardless of application frequency. The challenge with light frame rust is that it is visible only on the surface. The deeper layers of the rust progression are invisible without mechanical probing. A surface that looks like light rust may have moderate pitting beginning below the surface scale. This is why mechanical preparation before chemical treatment is so important. And the next product on this list is the one that most drivers skip entirely because it does not come in a spray can and requires actual physical work before the chemistry can start. Number 5. Rust Converter Spray. Generic brands. Generic rust converter sprays represent the largest category of rust treatment products in terms of shelf space at auto parts retailers. Every major retailer carries at least one house brand rust converter spray. They are universally inexpensive. They are marketed with claims of professional results, and they share a common failure pattern that our testing documented across 6 different generic brand products evaluated as a category. Generic rust converter sprays use phosphoric acid at low concentrations combined with a tannic acid secondary chemistry. The difference between a product that uses tannic acid effectively and a generic spray that uses it ineffectively is concentration and contact time chemistry. Generic sprays are formulated for ease of application and fast dry time. Fast dry time is incompatible with adequate contact time for either phosphoric acid or tannic acid chemistry to complete their conversion reactions on anything beyond the lightest surface rust. In our testing, generic rust converter sprays produce visible surface darkening on all test rust levels. The darkening indicates partial conversion at the very surface of the rust layer. Below that surface conversion layer, rust progression continued in every test sample at every rust severity level. At the 30-day assessment, generic converter sprays showed surface conversion that looked adequate to a visual inspection. At the 90-day assessment, subsurface rust had lifted the converted surface layer at pitting locations across every test sample regardless of which specific generic brand was used. The category conclusion is that generic rust converter sprays are appropriate for cosmetic rust treatment on body panels, where structural integrity is not the primary concern. The next product on this list is the first one in this investigation that begins to address the penetration problem in a way that actually works on structural steel. And it does it through a chemistry that none of the previous products use. Number 4, Corroseal water-based rust. Reformer. Corroseal is the first product in this investigation that consistently produced results on moderate frame rust in our testing. It is a water-based formula that combines phosphoric acid conversion chemistry with a latex primer system in a single application. The combined chemistry means the acid conversion and the sealing primer are applied simultaneously rather than as separate steps, requiring neutralization between them. This eliminates the practical complications that make Ospho and similar high-concentration acid products difficult to use correctly on installed frame steel. The latex primer component thickens the formula enough to maintain contact time on vertical surfaces, while the phosphoric acid component is thin enough to penetrate into moderate pit surfaces. In our testing on moderate frame rust with early pitting, Corroseal produced genuine conversion into pit surfaces that the gel products had failed to reach. Multiple brush applications working the formula into pit surfaces with a stiff bristle brush produced measurable conversion depth that exceeded every product tested before it in this investigation. At the 90-day assessment, Corroseal treated surfaces showed minimal subsurface rust progression compared to all previous products tested. A body shop owner from Michigan named Dennis has used Corroseal as his frame preparation product for 11 years. He switched after watching a customer's frame rust resume under a generic converter treatment he had recommended in good faith. Dennis now applies Corroseal as the mandatory first step on every frame rust job that comes through his shop before any topcoat product is applied. He reports 0 recurrence complaints from customers whose frames he has treated with Corroseal as the base layer in his 11 years of using it. On rust that has developed loose, flaking scale layers, the formula contacts the scale surface rather than the metal beneath it. Scale removal with a wire brush or needle scaler before chemical treatment is a non-negotiable preparation step for severe rust. Corroseal on mechanically prepared moderate rust is one of the 3 products in this investigation that genuinely works, but it is the entry-level product in the 3-product shortlist. The next 2 products on this list outperform it in specific ways that matter significantly for severe frame rust applications. Number 3. Jenolite Rust Remover and Converter. Jenolite is a British product with a long history in the automotive restoration market. It uses a phosphoric acid formula combined with a wetting agent chemistry that significantly improves penetration into tight rust geometry. The wetting agent lowers the surface tension of the formula. Lower surface tension allows the liquid to penetrate into pit surfaces and scale layer gaps that higher surface tension products cannot reach. This penetration characteristic is what puts Jenolite in the top 3 of this investigation. In our testing on severe frame rust with deep pitting and partial scale development, Jenolite produced measurable conversion at pit depths that Corroseal could not consistently reach with brush application. Jenolite runs from vertical surfaces faster than Corroseal. The solution used in our testing protocol was a 2-stage application method. First application with a brush, working the formula aggressively into all surface irregularities and pit openings. Immediate second application before the first coat dries to maintain the liquid film on the surface during the conversion reaction period. The 2-stage application extended effective contact time on vertical surfaces to approximately 15 minutes. 15 minutes of Jenolite contact on severe pitted rust produced conversion results that no single application product in this investigation matched. At the 6-month assessment point, Jenolite-treated test panels on severe rust showed the lowest subsurface rust progression of any product outside of the number 1 and number 2 positions. Jenolite is not widely available at mainstream auto parts retailers in the United States. It is available through online retailers and specialty restoration suppliers. The slightly higher effort required to obtain it is worth the performance difference on severe frame rust applications. But the products in the number 1 and number 2 positions outperform Jenolite in ways that our 6-month testing data made impossible to ignore. The gap between position 3 and position 2 in this investigation is the largest performance gap between any 2 consecutive products on this entire list. Number 2, POR-15 Rust Preventive Coating. POR-15 is the product that professional frame restorers reach for when the rust is severe enough that treatment failure is not an option. The formula is unique among all products in this investigation in one specific way. It uses moisture as a curing catalyst, rather than treating moisture as a contaminant to be excluded from the treatment process. Every other product in this investigation works better on dry rust than on wet rust. POR-15 works better on rust that has ambient moisture present. The formula reacts with iron oxide and atmospheric moisture simultaneously. The reaction produces a coating that becomes harder and more chemically resistant as it cures. At the 6-month assessment point, POR-15 treated test panels on severe rust showed 0 top coat lifting at pit locations, 0 subsurface rust progression visible through the coating, and 0 adhesion failure at the coating edge boundaries. A frame restoration specialist from Ohio named Richard has used POR-15 as his primary frame coating for 9 years on vehicles ranging from light trucks to commercial van fleets. He describes the product as the only coating he has used that he does not need to apply over bare metal to trust. He can apply it over mechanically cleaned rust and achieve results he is confident enough to warranty to his customers. Richard's warranty period on POR-15 frame treatments is 3 years. In 9 years of applying this warranty, he has had 2 warranty claims. Both were traced to inadequate mechanical preparation before application, rather than product failure. The limitation of POR-15 is cure time management. The moisture-catalyzed cure is optimal in conditions of ambient humidity between 50 and 85%. In very low humidity conditions, the cure is slower and less complete. In conditions of direct water contact, before the cure is complete, the coating can be washed off the surface. The application window requires ambient humidity, but not direct moisture contact. This is a manageable requirement, but it must be understood before scheduling a frame treatment. The number 1 product in this investigation addresses rust at a level that even POR-15 cannot match, and it does it through a preparation step that changes what every other product on this list can achieve when applied afterward. Number 1, Rust Bullet Standard Formula. Rust Bullet is the product that came out of our 12-product investigation as the single most effective rust treatment for structural frame steel in real-world conditions. In our testing on severe frame rust with deep pitting and active scale development, Rust Bullet produced results at the 6-month assessment that no other product in this investigation matched. 0 top coat delamination, 0 subsurface progression visible at pit locations, 0 edge lifting at coating boundaries even on surfaces with irregular geometry from heavy pitting. The practical application characteristics that make Rust Bullet exceptional are its viscosity management and its substrate tolerance. The formula is self-leveling enough to flow into pit surfaces on vertical orientation, but thixotropic enough to maintain contact time without running from the surface before the initial cure begins. This balance of flow and vertical adhesion is the application characteristic that makes Rust Bullet genuinely different from every product that came before it in this investigation. The substrate tolerance allows application over mechanically cleaned rust without requiring bare metal preparation. Wire brush removal of loose scale and debris is the required preparation level. Grinding to bare metal, which is the preparation requirement for the most demanding primer systems, is not necessary for Rust Bullet to achieve full performance. The complete frame rust treatment protocol that our investigation supports uses Corroseal as the base preparation layer on any surface with moderate to severe rust before Rust Bullet top coat application. The Corroseal base conversion layer, combined with the Rust Bullet deactivation and sealing top coat, produced the single best performance result in our entire investigation across every rust severity level tested. Total material cost for this two-product protocol on an average truck frame runs between $45 and $70, depending on the vehicle size and the extent of rust coverage requiring treatment. Frame rail replacement on a full-size truck runs between $2,500 and $6,500. The rust progression that makes frame replacement necessary develops over years of untreated or inadequately treated surface rust. $45 of the right chemistry applied correctly at the right stage of rust development prevents that outcome with a margin of performance confidence that our 6-month testing data supports completely. 11 products failed at rates ranging from complete ineffectiveness to false confidence generation. 3 products delivered results worth trusting on structural steel, and the 2-product protocol combining the best of those 3 into a complete system is the answer that 12 products, 6 months of testing, and thousands of miles of real-world frame exposure produced. Hey, thanks for watching. If this investigation just saved you from buying the wrong rust remover before winter takes another year off your frame, let us know in the comments what rust level your frame is showing right now and which product you have been using. Want to see our complete investigation into the 5 undercoating products that actually survive one full northern winter compared to the 7 that fail within 60 days? Click on the video on the left.